Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. In today's video, we are going to be talking about all the manicures that I wore for the month of December. When I am filming this, it is January 2nd, so Happy New Year to each of you. I hope that it is off to a great start for you and your family. With this being January, you guys know by now, I am gearing up for hand surgery. I am 4 days away from double procedure hand surgery, and knew that I was not going to be wearing manicures for the majority of January, and I wanted to make December a great month for polishes, a great month for untrieds, gorgeous combos, all of that fun stuff. And we did get all of that checked off my list. I was able to wear several polishes. We have, I think, 35 plus polishes here, if I recall correctly, something like that. The first one I'm going to talk about is definitely not one that I thought, it didn't turn out the way I expected it to. I don't know if it's just the polish or what, but I will say with this brand I've had some issues with similar situations, and I feel like maybe it's just the brand itself, not really sure. This is Morgan Taylor's Rebel with a Cause. So this is a really beautiful deep vampy shimmer polish. This is perfect for that dark color that I was going for right in the beginning of December, but the shimmer just didn't quite show up like I had expected it to. It wasn't quite what I thought. It is absolutely beautiful. You could see you've got some different color shifts with this polish. This just seemed like it fell flat with the shimmer. I don't know what happened. I believe, probably 3 coats of this one, and I loved it on my nails. I loved the dark vampiness of this color, but the shimmer just didn't quite show up. It just didn't quite do what I wanted it to, and that shimmer was not as prominent as I wanted it to be. So next is one that I hadn't worn in a few years, and this may come as a surprise to several of you. This is an Orly polish, and this is Royal Navy. So this is a beautiful navy shimmer. It has like a tealy blue shimmer to it. I loved this when I wore it the first 1 or 2 times. With this go round, I didn't like it. I don't know what happened. It felt like the formula was overly thin for me, and I'm thinking, okay, maybe that's just me. Maybe it's just because I haven't used it in a while. It is very thin, was hard to keep my cuticles from being flooded, if that makes sense. One thing with Orly polishes is they have such a very long brush. If you don't wipe off excess polish off of one side a decent amount, you can get some flooding, and that's usually what happens for me. But I feel like this is just really, really thin. It feels like it has become thinner than it did when I bought it several years ago. With that, I don't know that I'm going to hang on to this one. I'm not sure what happened. I'd have to try it over like a matching base color to see maybe if that would change it up. But yeah, for now, I don't know that this is going to stay in my collection, so we'll see what happens. I may end up destashing that polish. I have this white from Nails Inc. This is their Fast Dry polish. This is in Willa. I've talked about this before. I adore this polish. It is a great quality white. I love it so much. I wore it twice, and it just is one of my top favorites. Then I picked a Untried from Night Owl. This is Serotonal, I believe, however you say that. This is from August 2024 color of the month. So this is a really pretty, like, beet color. I wanted something that I hadn't wore, and I'm trying to dive into these creams from Night Owl that I picked up. One thing with this one, it had nothing against the color. The color was beautiful. Her brushes are rather wonky with this brand. Another polish from this brand in a cream that's the same way with the brush. I'm almost certain I haven't changed the brushes out. I don't think I did. But with that, it made application very, very difficult for me to apply because of the size of the brush and the way it just really fanned out almost way too much. So then I have Emerald Magic from China Glaze. This is a beautiful, deep, glittery green. Not a fan of this, guys. I don't love it. I was hoping I would. Have never wore this. Almost couldn't get the polish open. I had to have my husband help me do it. But yeah, this came out a couple years ago. I just didn't like it. It's very thin. This flooded my cuticles so bad. I'm gonna go ahead and send this to somebody else or destash it, give it away. I just don't love it. It was so disappointing for me. Very, very thin formula, very sheer. It's at least a 3-coater, and the fact that I was flooding my cuticles so bad, this one is definitely not going to stay in my collection. Then I found a new polish. This is from the brand Cracked. I wanted something over top of that white, and this is Broken Ornaments. So this is a really beautiful multicolored flaky topper. You've got red, green, blue, silver, and gold in here. I wanted something Christmassy, and while this is gorgeous, it did not go with the manicure that I chose to put this with. This is a beautiful topper. I love it. It is flaky. The flakes are very, very large in size. Not overly large, but they are a little bigger in size. That topper is really beautiful. I love the colors. It's perfect for the holiday season. Alright, so I have one more here. This was a surprise to me. I didn't expect to not necessarily love this polish. I am going to try it maybe in like a layering manicure, but on its own it just didn't quite do it for me. This is Kathleen & Co. Cassiopeia. This is PPU December 2023. This is a really beautiful polish. You can probably see that hint of shimmer. While it's gorgeous, it has holographic flakes. It is a deep like blue base, and then you've got that shimmer in there. It didn't do it for me. It was 3 coats, and I didn't love it on myself. I don't know what it was. I did not love this on me, and I thought if I maybe would have put it over a like navy blue base and done my layering techniques that I do, I think this would have been great with that. So I'm going to try it that way before I decide if I'm going to destash this or not. It is really pretty. You've got all that gorgeous shimmer in there, but it just didn't do it for me. I did not love it on my nails. Not sure why. It just wasn't my thing. So next up, we are finally getting into ones that we just absolutely adored. I loved these manicures. They're just top-notch. So I pulled a polish that I've had in my collection for several years. This is Sally Hansen Miracle Gel in Wrapped in Love. This is a beautiful metallic polish. Absolutely gorgeous. I have destashed a lot of these because I don't like the brushes, so I wanted to give this one a fair chance before I decided if I was going to keep it or not. Luckily, this one's staying in my collection, you guys. The formula was phenomenal. The color is beautiful. This is such a gorgeous color, and I adored it. It was such a nice surprise, and we're definitely hanging on to that one. I wanted to pair a silver with this one, so I paired it with No Place Like Chrome from Essie, which is a metallic silver. I did that on my ring finger. I wanted something over top of that, so I pulled Dark Petals from Rogue. This is a thinned out version of that polish, and it paired beautifully. I did, I believe, like 2 coats of this. It's a thinned out version, so I had to add a little extra just to get the coverage on top of that silver. But this was perfect. The manicure was so beautiful together. I fell in love with it. That was one of my favorites for the month. Now we're moving on to some red and green combinations. These were all absolutely fantastic. We got in a little bit of stamping, nothing great, but I did manage to do a little bit of nail art for the month. I pulled Ruby Pumps from Glaze. I had not worn this polish, so this was the first time I had worn it. It is a beautiful red jelly with some fine like glitter particles in there. Then I wore one that I haven't reached for in a while. This is Mistress of Mayhem from Morgan Taylor. This is a really pretty metallic-y green with some shimmer. There's like, I want to say like silver shimmer in this one. And I used a white, which is Winter Lily from Monarch Lacquer. And then for a topper over the white, I pulled Apparition from Rogue Lacquer. This is a holographic flaky topper. I did end up doing a little bit of nail art with this manicure. I wanted to do like a candy cane look, and my stamping plate I used didn't quite work the way I wanted it to. So I did like a candy cane inspired stripe design on my pinky, and then I wanted polka dots, and the polka dot, that white nail that I had, I think my middle and ring finger were actually painted white. It just kind of didn't work. I had overdone it with the dots and didn't love it, and I'm like, I'm not taking it off and redoing it. So I did leave it go, but I feel like I should have just left a nail with white and that topper over it and not done the dots. I think it would have looked a little better, but I still did enjoy it. It just kind of was a meh once I added the polka dots. So next we have another combo. This one I did also do some stamping. I will try to put the plates down below. I believe they're from Maniology. So I have Essie's Off Tropic. Then I pulled Adrenaline Brush from Essie, which is a red cream. Over top of the red, I wore Crimson Clue from Monarch Lacquer. Look at that gorgeous shimmer, you guys. This is so pretty. Absolutely gorgeous. And then this is a polish I've had in my collection, and I did get to wear it last December because of hand surgery last year. I wasn't able to wear it, so I put Frog and Toad from Wildflower Lacquer over Essie's Off Tropic. I went in with one coat of this over the Essie polish, and I wanted to see if a second coat of this polish would make it a little more shimmery. Didn't really do anything, so I definitely won't do 2 coats over a base next time, but I wanted to try it just to see if the shimmer would be even more pronounced. It's beautiful in 1 coat. I was just playing around with it just to see, but I wouldn't recommend doing 2 coats. But this was a fun one. I did get some stamping in. I boo-booed 1 nail, I think. I tried to kind of do like a gift wrap type design on my ring finger, and I picked a bow that just didn't quite work, and I'm like, I'm going to have to take all of the polish off to redo it, so I just left it. So you'll see that in these pictures. The bow and stuff that I did on the right hand over the red manicure was beautiful. It paired gorgeous, and I found the right bow stamping design that I wanted, and I'm like, why didn't I pick this one the first time? Because it did get boogered up on that left nail, and I'm just like, wait a minute. The ring finger on my left hand, and I'm just like, that doesn't look like a bow. What did you just do? So I did mess it up a little bit, but I left it. I'm like, I don't want to sit here and redo it. I just got my nails painted. We're all done. I don't want to redo it. So I didn't. So let's see, we've got a couple more here to pull these because I almost forgot to talk about them. Alright, so we're still continuing on with the red and green theme here. I got a I got a purchase in the mail from Cracked, and this was the month for Cracked polishes. I have wore, let's see, is there, what, 5 or 6 from this brand? I think there's 6 in here, 5, something like that. So if you saw my Cracked polish video, you know that I ordered quite a lot, and I love them. Her polishes, you guys, are phenomenal. I did some more red and green type nails, and I loved it. So I pulled Frosty Mallow from that brand. This is a really beautiful white shimmer. I did put this over, I want to say I pulled the Nail Zinc polish as a base. With white polishes, I usually will put a base down, whether it is Color Boost from Monarch, which is a white Color Boost base coat, or I use a white polish. That's just my preferred way to do it, just to build the opacity. So I did do that with Frosty Mallows. I did 2 coats of this over top of a white polish, and then I pulled Christmas Pickle from Cracked. Look at this. This, I believe, was a 3-coater, and I only put it on the middle finger for the manicure that I did. And then this is the star of the show for this manicure. This was a last-minute purchase, but I am so glad I picked it up. This is 23 Flavors from Cracked, and this is a beautiful red metallic polish. The formula of this was top-notch. If you're not familiar with the brand, she is fairly new. I think she's only been out for about a year. I love the bottles. I love her caps. She has amazing quality brushes. So this is what her brushes look like. They are fantastic paddle brushes. They are tapered just perfect. Application for me with these polishes is a breeze. So next up is one. This was kind of a hurry up and put something on my nails situation. I really did. I liked this manicure, but there's a couple things here that didn't quite go the way I wanted them to, and I'll explain that in a minute. So I pulled a white polish. So this is KB Shimmer's White Here, White Now. Over that, I wore Antisocial Butterfly from Wildflower Lacquer, which is a beautiful, like, delicate shimmer. I pulled a brand new polish called Tulgey Wood from Cracked. This is a polish, or no, this is a Hella Handmade Creations purchase for November of 2024. This is a beautiful green. Then Then I pulled another red from Cracked that I had just gotten. This is Eat, Drink, and Be Cheery. Oh, Be Cherry, excuse me. So this is another red shimmer. This is very similar to 23 flavors, but the one from the Christmas collection has silver shimmer in it, where the one in 23 flavors doesn't have the silver shimmer. And then over the white nails, I wanted a Christmas topper. This is Lost Claws from Rogue Lacquer. It was part of her doorbuster for 2024. But this, it's pretty. It's a red and green flaky. I felt like this particular topper tinted my white base. I felt like my nail looked a little bit pinky leaning when I put this on. Not sure if it's just me. I don't know if you guys will be able to see it in the photos, but I do. I feel like it tinted this a little bit, and I didn't love how this looked over a white. So I might have to keep that in mind for next time and just do this over like a darker color, because I felt like it just tinted that white nail ever so slightly, if that makes sense. Alright, so next up is another one that I adored. I had a polish out for my holiday polish picks for quite a while, and wasn't sure if I was going to wear it. I was kind of trying to talk myself out of wearing this one, and I'm glad I didn't, because this probably was one of the stars of the show for sure. So I pulled a couple polishes to do combos with. I have Just One Bite from Morgan Taylor. This is like a metallic-y red. Over top of that, I pulled Villain Era from Garden Path Lacquer, which is this beautiful ruby red glitter polish. I talked about this in my top favorites for 2024, so you guys probably would have seen that by now. Some of these have been talked about in that video. And then I used a green polish called Lafayette from Cirque Colors. I had not gotten a chance to wear this. I did end up changing the brush, so the cap and the brush in this polish is from KB Shimmer. I wanted a paddle brush. I don't like the teeny tiny Cirque polish brushes. So this is a little squishy. This was, I think, 2 to 3 coats for opacity. Over top of that, I wore a mystery polish from Wildflower Lacquer. This is Hard Candy Christmas. Look at that color, you guys. Look at the color payoff. Holy moly, this is pretty. This is absolutely gorgeous. The flakes are just top notch. It paired beautifully over that green base. I was like, oh wow. This looks better than I thought it was going to. I was pleasantly surprised. I wasn't sure how it was going to work, and it paired beautifully. So again, I went in with a white base. I had plans to do something different on the white base, and I think I wore this one. I think that's what's on my list. This is the Nails Inc Speedy Gloss line of polish again. This is the white and Willa. I wore that on my ring finger and my thumb, I believe, and I'm like, well, I want something to go over top. What can I use? So I pulled a new polish. This is Christmas Cookie from ILNP. I just picked it up, so you guys will probably see that after you see this. This is a white Crelly with red and green little micro glitters. I generally don't put Crellys over top of a white base. Sometimes I do, just to build them up a little bit. Oh, that manicure, you guys, it was so beautiful. Absolutely fantastic. Definitely one of my top favorites for 2024. It was wonderful. I adored that one. So last up for the Christmassy manicures, this was another one that was so surprising. I absolutely loved it. It was more beautiful than I could have imagined it to be. It just worked out fantastic. So we've got all untrieds. I also have a very new purchase that you guys would have seen in a video recently. So I pulled a polish I got in a mystery. This is Butter London's British Racing Green. This is a shimmery, like emerald green. I wore this on my middle nail on one hand, I think, and then my pinky and index on the other hand. I think is how I did it. I'm not sure. And then I pulled another untried. This is I'm Not Really a Waitress from OPI. I have not wore this at all and pulled it and thought, I'm going to try this one and see. This is beautiful. This is a gorgeous polish. I didn't know that I was going to love it. I absolutely adore I'm Not Really an Actress, I think is the one I'm thinking of. I love that one. So I wasn't sure I was going to love this, but this is a beautiful polish. If you happen to have it or maybe have been on the fence whether to pick it up or not, I highly recommend you try this one because it's gorgeous. So the last one I wore is a white Crowley. This is KB Shimmer's Baking Spirits Bright. This is a white Crowley with red and green glitters. I got this because of Polish with Ray on YouTube. She talks about this polish quite often, and she wears it every single holiday season. I finally got my hands on it. I've been waiting to buy this one for well over a year, I think. Every time Ray wears this, I'm just like, why don't I have that in my collection? So I was able to pick it up during Black Friday, and I'm so glad that I did because this was a gorgeous polish. It was prettier than I had anticipated, and Polish with Ray, I could see why she wears this multiple times for the holidays. It is that good. It is such a gorgeous combination, and it paired beautifully with that red and green polish that I had. So last up is the last manicure that I wore, and this one was a top favorite as well. Definitely not Christmassy or even New Year's like, but it worked. So I wore Victorian Varnish Dioptase. This is one of her creams. Over that, I paired Anti-Hero from Kathleen & Co. I did 2 coats of the Victorian Varnish polish and then 1 coat of the Kathleen & Co. That was on my left hand. On my right hand, I wanted a purple combo, so I pulled Starlit Shale from Orly. I had not had a chance to wear this. I wore it for swatching purposes, but I haven't pulled it out and wore it as a manicure. I put 2 coats of that down, and then over top of that, I did a polish that I have had for going on 3 years. I've never wore it. This is Moon Jelly from Ethereal Lacquer. This was a gorgeous combination. I was not sure how the purples would go, but you guys, they worked beautifully together. They paired so well together. I was shocked by how beautiful everything was. I could not believe it worked so beautifully. I adored it. For that real quick, but don't know if that'll happen or not. Hopefully. I'm going to try to make time for that. But that's it, guys. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. Let me know your thoughts down below, what you thought of these manicures. I hope that you have a great new year and a great week, and we'll see you guys later.